Addictions can feel like a shadow over your life, blocking your potential and keeping you stuck in a cycle you can't escape. But what if you could move through the darkness and reclaim your light? The Eclipse path, inspired by Eastern philosophy, offers a powerful journey to help you break free from addiction and take control of your mind. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step guide to conquer your addictions, find balance, and become the person you know you're capable of being. Let's get started. Part 1. Acknowledge the shadow. For a long time, Gohan didn't see his addictions as a problem. He told himself, "It's just a small habit. Everyone has their vices." He buried the frustration he felt when his goals stayed out of reach and ignored the growing gap between the life he wanted and the life he was living. But slowly, cracks began to show. Missed opportunities, declining discipline, and a nagging sense of unfulfilled potential forced him to face the truth. His addictions were the shadow blocking his path forward. This realization wasn't easy. Addiction thrives in denial, convincing you that the habit isn't really that bad, that you can stop anytime, or that it doesn't affect the bigger picture. But Gohan realized something crucial. The shadow grows strongest when it's ignored. By refusing to acknowledge his problem, he was giving it more power over him. This moment of confrontation is something Eastern philosophy has long emphasized. In Buddhism, the concept of dukkha, suffering, teaches that before you can change or heal, you must first recognize the existence of your suffering. Pretending it doesn't exist only deepens the pain. Enlightenment begins with a single act, acknowledgement. For Gohan, acknowledging his shadow wasn't about labeling himself a failure or wallowing in guilt. It was about clarity. He started to see how his habits weren't just stealing his time. They were stealing his energy, focus, and confidence. Each moment he spent feeding his addiction was a moment lost from his potential. But with this clarity came a new realization. A shadow isn't permanent. It's temporary and dependent on light. By viewing his addiction as a shadow, something that obscured but didn't destroy his light, Gohan began to reclaim his power. He understood that his current situation wasn't fixed or irreversible. The first step was simply to stop avoiding the problem and face it. You can't fight an enemy you refuse to see. Like Gohan, recognize that your addiction isn't permanent. It's a temporary shadow. Acknowledge its impact, and you've already taken the first step toward breaking free. Part 2. Find the light. Once Gohan acknowledged the shadow of his addictions, he was left with a question that gnawed at him. What am I really fighting for? He realized that quitting wasn't just about removing bad habits. It was about reclaiming something meaningful that his addictions had obscured. Without a clear purpose to pull him forward, every effort felt like climbing a mountain in the dark. He needed a light, a reason that would guide him through the struggle. This clarity didn't come overnight. At first, Gohan only knew what he didn't want: the wasted time, the hollow feeling of giving in to his impulses, and the constant regret that followed. But the more he reflected, the more he began to see a pattern. His addictions weren't just random bad habits. They were distractions, filling a void where his purpose should have been. The hours he spent numbing himself were hours he could have used to grow stronger, wiser, and closer to the person he wanted to become. Gohan started asking himself questions. What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? What will I regret if I keep living like this? What would it feel like to wake up each day with pride instead of guilt? These questions began to reveal a clearer picture. He wanted to build discipline, improve his health, and find fulfillment in meaningful achievements. His light wasn't something external. It was the potential version of himself he'd always known he could be, but had buried under layers of distraction. In Taoism, this concept is tied to Te, living in alignment with your inner purpose or virtue. When your actions align with your true goals, they become infused with meaning. Gohan realized that his addictions had disconnected him from this purpose. By reconnecting with his why, he found the fuel to face the struggle. This realization transformed the fight against addiction. It was no longer about depriving himself of something. It was about reclaiming something greater. Each time he felt the urge to give in, he reminded himself of the light he was chasing: a disciplined body, a sharper mind, and a life he could respect. Ask yourself, what is the light you want to reclaim? Define it clearly. When your purpose is strong enough, it becomes a guiding force pulling you through the darkness. Like Gohan, reconnect with the version of yourself you know is waiting to emerge. Part 3. Move through the eclipse. Recognizing the shadow and finding his light gave Gohan clarity. But clarity wasn't enough. The real battle began when he faced the daily struggle of breaking free from his addictive behaviors. He quickly realized that freedom wasn't just a single decision, it was a series of deliberate actions repeated daily that forced him to confront discomfort head-on. At first, the struggle felt overwhelming. The cravings were strong, the habits deeply ingrained. Gohan would tell himself this is the last time, only to find himself slipping back into the same patterns. Frustrated and feeling defeated, he wondered if he lacked the strength to overcome his addictions. But then he remembered a lesson from Zen philosophy. Kaizen, the art of continuous improvement through small, deliberate steps. Instead of trying to quit everything at once or rely solely on willpower, Gohan decided to focus on one hard thing each day. Inspired by the disciplined routines of Zen monks, he structured his mornings around simple but meaningful practices that would train his mind to embrace discomfort. He started with cold showers, forcing himself to endure the initial shock. Then he added a short meditation session, where he sat with his thoughts and cravings instead of running from them. Over time, he began to notice a shift. Each small victory, resisting the urge to give in for just 5 minutes, completing one productive task instead of procrastinating or saying no to a distraction, built momentum. Gohan realized that the struggle wasn't an obstacle. It was the process itself. Every moment of discomfort was like taking a step through the eclipse, closer to the light on the other side. Zen monks often say, the obstacle is the path. Gohan internalized this, understanding that the pain of breaking free wasn't something to avoid. It was the price of transformation. By focusing on small, consistent actions, he chipped away at the hold his addictions had over him. Each day wasn't perfect, but each small step moved him forward. The struggle to quit an addiction isn't a sign of weakness. It's proof that you're growing stronger. Embrace discomfort as part of the process. Start with one hard thing today, and let that victory fuel the next. Part 4. Reclaim your light. When Gohan finally began to break free from his addictions, something unexpected happened. He didn't just feel relief, he felt powerful. The energy that had once been consumed by his habits was now flowing back into his life. It was as if the light that had been dimmed for so long was now shining brightly, illuminating a path he hadn't seen before. Gohan realized that the time, focus, and effort he had wasted on his addictions weren't lost forever. They were resources he could reclaim and redirect toward building something greater. This wasn't an overnight transformation. At first, the freed-up energy felt strange. He had moments where he didn't know what to do with the time or focus he had regained. But instead of slipping back into old habits, Gohan turned to discipline. He set small, achievable goals, increasing his workout routine, learning a new skill, and dedicating focused time to his personal projects. Each task, no matter how small, became a brick in the foundation of his new life. In Shinto philosophy, there's a focus on renewal and purification through rituals. Cleansing isn't just about removing what's harmful. It's about preparing yourself to rebuild with a clear purpose. Gohan embraced this idea, treating each day as a chance to purify his habits and channel his energy into activities that fueled his growth. The results were undeniable. The workouts that once felt impossible now became a source of strength. The discipline he built in quitting his addiction extended to other areas of his life, creating a ripple effect of improvement. Gohan wasn't just free from his addiction, he was stronger because of it. Addiction doesn't just take from you, it hides the potential within you. The energy you free when you break free from its grip isn't gone, it's waiting to be reclaimed. Channel it into something meaningful. Build your discipline, sharpen your skills, or strengthen your body. Like Gohan, you'll discover that what once felt like a shadow was actually the beginning of your transformation. The light is yours to reclaim. Part 5. Balance the shadows and light. Breaking free from addiction gave Gohan a new sense of strength and clarity, but he quickly realized that freedom wasn't the end of the journey. It was just the beginning. Staying free required more than avoiding triggers or relying on willpower. It meant building a life where the light he had reclaimed always outshined the shadows that once controlled him. Gohan began by creating systems of balance. He understood that extremes, whether in work, rest, or discipline, could eventually lead to burnout or relapse. Inspired by Taoist philosophy, he embraced the principle of yin and yang, harmony between effort and relaxation, discipline and enjoyment, light and dark. He scheduled his days with structured routines for work, exercise, and personal growth, but also carved out time for meaningful rest and connections with others. One key lesson Gohan learned was that ignoring the shadows entirely wasn't the answer. Instead, he acknowledged their existence and prepared for moments of weakness. He built strategies to counteract them, surrounding himself with positive influences, setting boundaries to protect his progress, and having a plan for when cravings resurfaced. By respecting the reality of the shadows, he ensured they would never regain control. In Taoism, balance isn't about perfection, it's about flow. Life isn't static, and neither is recovery. Gohan understood that there would be moments of struggle, but the systems he built gave him the tools to stay grounded. He wasn't trying to eliminate every dark moment. He was ensuring that the light in his life always shone brighter. This balanced approach gave Gohan something he hadn't expected: peace. He no longer lived in fear of falling back into old habits because his life was now aligned with his values and goals. The light he had fought so hard to reclaim wasn't just a fleeting victory. It became the foundation of a sustainable, fulfilling life. Freedom from addiction isn't just about quitting bad habits. It's about creating a life where shadows have no place to grow. Balance your discipline with rest, your effort with reflection. Build a system that lets your light shine brighter every day. Like Gohan, you'll find that true freedom is a harmony you create and sustain. Start with the first step. Acknowledge the shadow. Write in the comments the habit you're ready to confront or the part of the Eclipse path that resonates most with you. And if you want to see even more, check out the link of recommended books in the pinned comment and watch this next video to learn even more.